Hello and welcome. Yes, welcome to the Homewrecker podcast. I don't have any clever intro like I did last week.
No
It's
double
me.
G.
No, well, sure. It's Alex Arion, the Golden Greek. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm joined as always by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, amazing trophy wife, the lovely Monique. How are you, my dear?
Hi, I am well.
Great.
I'm good. I'm great. I'm all things awesome.
Yes, that is true.
Yes.
That is great.
Because I choose to be, damn it.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, that's how it gets done.
Yeah.
You got to make it happen.
Yes.
Can't just sit around waiting for it to happen.
No.
Well, you can. You can be waiting a long time though.
Yeah.
So what's new with you, my lady?
It's been a busy week, fulfilling orders and scheduling hypnotherapy consults and appointments. Yeah. And one of the things that I have been focusing on is just making sure like I have time to enjoy my family, our family, just enjoying the moments.
Okay.
Yeah. And speaking of moments, one thing that I've been doing that is really cool is I just find myself like thankful for the moment I'm in, even if nothing's going on. Because no matter what happened yesterday and what could happen in the future, I have this moment and I'm thankful for it and just being in that moment. And I'm grateful that I can do that.
Bravo.
I have gratitude for having gratitude.
Okay.
It's like a fractal, just
keeps going and going.
yeah.
All right.
How about you?
That's great. No, nothing new. Just same old, same old. Living the dream, or trying to wake up from the nightmare, depending on
Depending on the
what.
day.
Yeah, depending on the day, I guess. Yeah, no, nothing new.
Well,
Nothing new.
speaking of dreams,
A bit.
oh, no, go on and then remind me to tell you about my dream.
All right. Okay. Yeah, no, nothing. I've taken the last couple of weeks off from exercising of any kind just to kind of give my body a break. Like no walking, no nothing. And yeah, feel all right. It's like some nagging like aches and pains are starting to kind of go away a little bit, so it's good. But no, other than that, nothing. A lot of reading.
Yes, a lot of
Eating
reading.
too many snacks and cookies with the kids. Too many. But that all changes in the next day or two.
Yeah, but it's fun to just kind of hang out and watch movies with the kids and have popcorn and stuff.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it's like you can't sit and watch a movie without the snacks, and I feel like that's just something
But
that.
that's something we were kind of raised on. And
Yes,
and we
exactly.
talked about this before with WrestleMania, where, watching a show and then like watching a wrestling match and then not having snacks. Like we used to always watch a WrestleMania or a pay-per-view and we'd have like pizza and like all different treats. And then like we watched a pay-per-view with nothing. We had like water. And it was different, but it's because we had that habit that we created. That's all. It's all mental. So we can enjoy movies without snacks.
Yeah.
If we want to, if we choose to.
Yeah, sure. I'm not arguing that at all. Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned you were doing a lot of reading.
Yeah, but I always do a lot of reading.
So
Yeah.
what are you reading now?
Currently, I've got a bunch of different things I'm reading. The book that I just recently started and I'm about halfway through is it's called, I have to look because I can't remember this terrible. Fast This Way by Dave Asprey. He's the guy that does like the bulletproof coffee and the bulletproof diet and all that stuff. It's his book, and it's all about fasting. I mean, I've fasted a million times, and this was just like kind of a different. He's got a couple of different things in here that I had heard were interesting ideas. So I always like to get different takes on things. You know me. I always like to keep on top of like the nutrition and diet and exercise kind of stuff. So that's always been a passion of mine. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. He's got a lot of cool little anecdotes about stuff, and it's not just like the way he explains. You don't have to just fast from food, but you can like do like a caffeine fast, for example. You like don't have caffeine, and that's a method of fasting. And he just gives like kind of like cool little different strategies for people to ease into fasting. And he basically just goes over how it's all a mental game, which I mean I've said that before too. It is
Yeah.
all mental, but just goes over a lot of the different health benefits and stuff like that of fasting. And yeah, it's good. It's good so far. Not
Nice.
bad. It's very I don't want to say mainstream, or what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I don't know. It's not controversial, I guess, which I thought it might be.
Why?
I don't know. All right. I guess maybe the best way of putting it is there's nothing really new. I'm not learning anything new. It's just interesting the way he puts things.
Okay.
That I guess that I guess
Putting it in a
that's
different perspective.
yeah, a little bit. It's more
Okay.
so like well, but again, I'm only not I said halfway through. I'm not even I'm about a quarter of the way through now, looking at where my bookmark's at. So it's not really fair to say if it's good or bad yet because I'm not that far into it. But yeah, it's one of those. It's kind of like do you remember the Tim Ferriss book, The 4 Hour Body? He did the 4 Hour Work Week, the 4 Hour Chef.
Vaguely.
Well, it's like one of those type of deals. It's like along those lines.
Okay.
The style of writing, I mean, it's good. It's accessible reading
All
for
right.
yeah. It's an easy to read book. That's what I mean. It's not like he'll get into technical stuff and medical terms and phrases that I'm not
Okay.
a fan of at all. But he also keeps it accessible for like somebody that's not into that kind of stuff.
Alrighty then.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's a book
I'm gonna
about
shut up about I'm gonna
fasting.
shut up about the fasting book now. That's enough. Jeez, I'm boring myself. I feel like I'm just going in circles here.
A little, but I love you.
Sorry. It happens. It happens. That happens when you
Yeah.
don't sleep well.
Yeah.
Anyway, dreams. You were talking about your dreams.
Don't you want to know what I'm reading?
Okay, sure. Well, you were talking about dreams, and
I
then you
know,
went
but you went to
into
reading, and I thought we'd get to dreams
all
after. So
right.
I thought, oh, we wanted to mention books, and
I just didn't
you
want
gave
you
the
to
perfect
forget.
opportunity.
Okay. So, what are you reading?
You do that all the time. Like you take your turn and then you don't give me mine, and I'm just sitting
I
waiting like a lady.
you were talking about dreams, so I remembered
No,
that.
I just said, remind me to talk about my dream, but we were going into something else. So
Whatever you say, I can't win. So go ahead. Whatever you say. What are you reading? I do that all the time. So whatever. Get to it.
which is why I've gotten used to speaking up about it.
Okay.
I love you.
Yes.
I have been reading Hypnotism and Mysticism in India by Orman McGill. This is a book I've been.
So it's about hypnotism in India.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a book basically I was reading for my class. I had a
That says
question.
hypnotism and mysticism of India.
Oh, of India, sorry.
That's okay.
I asked my instructor, I was actually talking with Rambo about sign language because he knows British Sign Language. And I was talking to him and we were having the conversation about if somebody is deaf, and I'm laughing because I had a typo and I put dead. That's why I'm laughing. If somebody's dead, how could they be hypnotized?
That
Like
would
it-
be very tricky. If you could figure that out, I'm sure there'd be like a Nobel Peace Prize in it for you or something, if that's even a thing.
But that's why I'm laughing when I'm thinking of it because of the typo I had. I was like deaf, not dead. But I asked my instructor because I was like, how can we help people if they are hearing impaired or deaf? And he mentioned this book and it is insane. It begins where he's talking about in India, the tricks that they used to do, the quote unquote magic tricks and how they would do it. And then it goes talking about like prana, energy, breathing techniques, then into hypnosis. And it's so cool and kind of how it all mixes together. It's a very fascinating read. Some of it I have to like stop and read a few times to make sure I'm getting it. And I also want to try, like, I try practicing, like, you're breathing in through one nostril and it's going through you. And I was like, so do you like hold your
I
nose on
was gonna
one
say, how
side
do you
or
do
like,
that?
yeah. And that's like, I had to reread it to try to figure out
Is that
from,
what you do? You have to
yeah,
hold like
that's
block it
how
with a
I'm doing
finger?
it.
I was gonna say it's the only way I can think of that you do
Yeah,
that.
that's how I'm doing it. Cause I'm
Okay.
not at the level where I can just control the air going through one nasal passage. But no, it's really interesting. And I thought it's a good read, but it's taking a little bit of time just because I want to absorb it properly.
Yeah,
So I'm
sure.
kind of stopping and like rereading what I read to make sure I'm comprehending it as it's supposed to be.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Is it like for you, obviously it's got to be easier to understand because you've gone through hypnosis training and you've already read several books and things like that. So
I
like
think
for
for
somebody like
me,
me,
it's more easy to understand because I'm spiritual,
oh,
because
okay.
I have more of a spiritual base.
So it's not really like you have to be,
I don't think so.
so anybody can pick that up and get something
Yeah.
out of it.
Like
Cool.
talking about like mass hypnosis, just explaining sound and rhythm and can put people in a trance, movement. It can put people in a trance. It has all these different things.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's very interesting. My book is used. That was the only way I could find it, was a used copy. So yeah.
There's a lot of books like that that you can only get now, used or
Mhm.
whatever. They're out of print. And there's actually, since we're on the topic of books, I got one right here. Battle for the Mind, the physiology of wow, I can't talk today. Holy cow.
Words are hard,
A
baby.
physiology of conversion and brainwashing, how evangelists, psychiatrists, politicians, and medicine men can change your beliefs and behavior.
Ooh.
This is the book that the CIA got a hold of, and this is when they started MK Ultra. They read this book. They used this book as the basis. The experiments that were talked about in this book is the basis for all that stuff. It's pretty interesting. I again, like I said, I read a bunch of stuff. I'm only in the preface,
Mm.
or excuse me, the introduction. It's just looking at some of the chapter titles. It's going to be a pretty good read, I think. So
Nice.
yeah, it's yeah, definitely. Just I told you I'm into all that kind of stuff because I
Yeah,
like to know how all this stuff works,
I'm aware.
and then hopefully be better equipped to defend myself.
Well, I
And
think by shutting off our TV, we're one
that's
step
well, yeah,
ahead, getting rid of
that's the
cable.
big thing. Oh yeah, that's
That and getting rid of news, that definitely,
that's huge.
yes, that certainly helped a lot.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Now, what about dreams?
So I had a
I
dream
want to hear about
a few
this.
nights ago and it kind of raveled into like what I want us to talk about.
Okay.
So I had a dream and a part of it was about high school. And when I woke up, I started thinking about high school and just remembering things that I've forgotten about. And one of the things that came to mind was like, I don't know about for you, but for me in my high school, if somebody was walking down the hall, like a boy and girl walking down the hall holding hands, that was like, oh, they're officially dating or going out. And now it's almost the equivalent of like how people would be like, oh, I'm the status of like in a relationship on Facebook. It's not official until you put it on Facebook.
Is that still a thing?
I don't know. I haven't had Facebook for years.
Me neither. That's why I asked if that's still a thing.
No clue.
Okay.
But it was like that thing. So once you saw somebody walking down the hall holding hands, you knew like, oh, they're a couple. It's official. And I had a couple friends, Debbie and Chrissy, and we just loved each other. And so we would hold hands down the hall because we don't give a shit. And we used to get called like, we got called names all the time. People would call us dykes. They'd make fun of us. And we were just like, whatever. We don't care. Because like we held hands because just that comfort and being with each other and that energy. And I thought we were awesome. I don't care. But apparently
All
it
right.
made some people uncomfortable.
Okay.
But so then I was thinking about like with relationships, I don't know if anyone else had friends who did this, but I think it was like my freshman year. This happened to me a couple of times where my
High school
friends,
still we're talking?
yeah,
Okay.
freshman year, my friends would like randomly ask a guy out for me that I had no interest in.
Your friends would ask somebody out
Yeah.
for you?
Yeah. Like I had no idea this was happening. And then they're telling me like, oh, so-and-so is going out with you now. And I'm like, what?
This
When
was
did this?
freshman year of high school.
Yeah. Like the first time it
Sounds like a
happened.
third grade thing, not like a
Oh my God.
freshman year of high
So
school. But
the first time it happened, like I had no interest in this guy, and like he was kind of popular, but I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. And so after I think it was like a few phone calls, because like I didn't even see him in school. It was like we talked over the phone. And then I was like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. And then I was like, how do I break up with this person?
you actually gave
I
it a
like,
shot though, which is
I
amazing.
tried because I was
All right.
like, okay, but and I'll kind of get into part of my point with this with like guilt. Another time they asked, and I don't know if he had mentioned he liked me or something, but they were like, oh, like you should go out with Monique. And he was like, okay. And then again, it's like, oh, you're dating, this guy. And I'm like, what? Like, why? I'm not, I like him as a friend, but I'm not interested that way. And so we ended up talking on the phone because I'm like, I guess I'll give him a chance. And right. And I just remember like, he's really nice, but I'm just not into him. And I just remember like I ended up breaking up with him, and I felt bad because I was like, because he was telling me like how long he had a crush on me for and how much he liked me. And I was just like, oh, you're making it so much harder. Yeah. And I was like, I think we should just be friends. The dreaded friend zone.
Been there. Not fun.
Did your friends ever do that to you?
No, God, no, nothing like that. No, I think, geez, I didn't have a girlfriend in high school at all, or junior high school. I think the girlfriend I had, the last girlfriend in school that I had was sixth grade. I think, if I remember right. Yeah, sixth grade. And you sixth grade, you don't do anything, obviously. But yeah, no, and I didn't do anything like that in high school. That never happened to me. I was more so I skipped a lot of class in high school. I did a lot of that. Sophomore year was yeah, I did a lot of skipping. So I didn't really go to class a lot. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, the only reason I really buckled down junior year was because I wanted to get a drum set. I think we've told that story before, right? Yeah. And senior year, everybody was going to college. Everybody. I didn't want to go.
Nor did I.
But I was like, all right, come March when everybody's already gotten their acceptance letters and stuff. I'm like, all right, maybe I should think about if I want to go or not. I really don't want to, but all right. So I applied to one college, and the only reason I applied to that college is because my dad went there. It's literally the only reason why.
This is what happens. This is what happens to the youth of America.
Well, I mean, this was a while ago.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, I went to college because
yeah.
I was told college or military.
I think
I didn't want to.
That's changing now, though.
Oh,
I'm
obviously.
pretty sure that's changing.
But when we were
But
teenagers,
yeah, of course, that's
it's insane.
Yeah, that's what it was. So I got accepted, and it wasn't because of my grades. It was because of you had to write like an essay. And so they accepted me based off the strength of my essay. I was told this in my interview because the grades sucked. But
so you didn't have friends trying to set you up with other people?
No, that never happened. But yeah, no, well, that was high school for me. I didn't really.
Well, my point was just thinking about the guilt and feeling bad and feeling guilty. Like almost like I have to give this person a chance because they're saying they like me, even though I do not feel that way about them. And I was just thinking about the lack of strength and lack of boundaries that I had because I, obviously was just like, okay, like I was trying to be nice, but I'm like, I shouldn't have had to do that. That's fucked up.
Yeah, a lot of screwed up stuff happens when you're a kid.
But have you ever felt guilted into doing things you didn't want to do?
From friends?
From anybody in life?
I mean, yeah, my mom.
Okay, parents aside.
Guilt. Okay.
Family aside, like strangers.
Not
Like
not
I used to get put on the spot by salesmen and feel
yeah,
like,
that kind of shit. Sure,
yeah, feeling like,
but
oh, they've been working so hard to help me. Now I have to buy
oh
this thing that I don't want to
no,
buy.
that no, never. No,
I'm
God,
glad I
no,
got out of
never.
that.
Never, never, never. I guy would put his time in answering questions or something like a salesman, for example, but I never felt like I had to buy something
I always
because of
felt
that.
like this,
No,
oh, I need to do this. And I
no,
hated it. And
gosh,
it
no.
felt so wrong.
They must have loved you then. They must have read sucker on you.
The worst,
Sorry,
I
I'm not
can't,
trying to be a
I
jerk. I'm
think we
just
talked
that's
about this when we talked about jobs.
okay. We may have.
When I was living in Rhode Island and I was going door to door selling
Yes, yeah,
Electrolux vacuums, and
yeah,
I just couldn't do it to people. Like
yeah.
they would have me vacuum their floors and like, basically clean their house. Like, oh yeah, that's great. And then like part of me like wanted to put that pressure on, and I knew if I really wanted to like get them to buy it, I could. But I was just like, I didn't want to do that because I could tell, like, I knew where it was working. These people don't have money. It's like, you don't have $1,200 for a new vacuum.
Yeah, sales was never something I enjoyed doing. I think if I applied myself, I could be a pretty good salesman because when I worked at GNC again,
Mm.
right around the time you were probably selling vacuums, that was like a big thing. You had to sell like whatever the new thing was that month. You had to, push it to customers. And I got pretty good at that. And I hated it.
Like
Like it
I
just, I felt
could,
like
I
shit.
just didn't want to, and I
That's
refused
that's why I
to.
ended up leaving that job. I didn't
Yeah.
last very long. I
Like
ended up quitting.
if I
But
wanted to, I could turn on the charm and
yeah, but
I
it just
could
doesn't
like get
feel right.
people.
It
It's
never felt
exactly.
right.
And
It
it
never
didn't
felt right.
feel right. And
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. And like now looking back, I think like shame on those people for putting that pressure
It's a
on
bit.
others, but it's their job. I get
It's
it. I get
business.
it.
Yeah,
Nope,
that's
I
it.
get it. But
Nobody cares about you or the
exactly.
person walking in the door. They care about the money they're going to get in
I
their
know.
paycheck.
And that's the thing. And
So
that's why it's like I'm not going to do that to other people. But I was just like thinking back about the boundaries back then and like that kind of stuff in high school, and it's like, wow, I'm glad that I set my boundaries and I stopped feeling so guilty about shit.
bravo, better late than never.
I'm curious. Has anyone else done that to them? Like when they were in high school, their friends would be like, "Oh, you're going out with so and so now," without you having any idea. Just curious. Am I the only one?
That's yeah, that maybe I don't know. That I've no one I ever hung out with did that to anybody that I'm aware of.
Just my quote
Never
unquote
happened to
friends.
me. I don't know if that's a common or uncommon thing.
I don't know.
That's the
That's why
first
I'm
I've heard of it
asking.
was from you, but I've it could be a common thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
that's why I was asking. I'm
not in
just
my
curious.
experience.
Yeah.
But I've been, it's funny you mentioned high school because I've been dreaming not about high school lately, but about people from my past
Mm.
just randomly showing up in my dreams. And it sucks because now obviously I can't remember specific people, but I just know I wake up and I'm like, why was I just dreaming about that person? Why was that person in my dream? And it was never anything bad that I can remember, but just it was just weird. Like, and it's been like the last couple of weeks, just really strange. Just all these weird people from my past.
Hmm.
And I don't know what that means or
You got to write it down when you wake up,
I know, and I always say I'm going to, and I
and then
never
you
do.
don't.
Yeah.
That's okay. Speaking of things in the past and reminiscing,
Yeah.
we watched some wrestling. We watched what's it
Yeah. I've been
called on
watching a lot of
A&E?
wrestling lately.
Yeah,
Like,
what did we watch
but I
on
say
A&E?
when I say wrestling, I mean I'm not talking the new stuff. I'm talking stuff from like the
The
80s and
80s and
the
90s.
90s. Yeah. Like when wrestling was really good.
Yeah.
Sound terrible saying that, but yeah, yeah.
What was the thing on A&E we were watching?
It's like a biography, I believe it's called.
Okay.
We watched one on and we got rid of cable, but there's like A&E app
Yeah.
that we put on our Roku, and you can watch whatever show. You just have to sit through like ads here and there. But yeah, we watched the biography of was it Stone Cold Steve Austin, and we
Yes.
watched
And then we did Macho Man.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
And it was
Yeah,
watching Macho Man that some stuff came up
yeah.
that we thought was a little odd. And I'll let you talk about it.
Well, no, you go ahead, and then I'll kind of chime in. What was, because it's kind of a complicated. I'll let you go, and then I'll kind of add to and
It
when I need to.
One of the things we were talking about is when somebody passes away, they're not there to say, no, that's not what happened, and tell their side of the story. And in my life, in my experiences, I've seen it where once somebody passes away, people rewrite history. They change what's happened, and it's their perspective or their created perspective. How many times have you known somebody who died and then all of a sudden someone comes out of the woodwork like, oh my God, my best friend passed away? It's like, they didn't like you or they didn't even know who you were. And like you're going around like, we were best friends. And it's that attention because they want whatever, for whatever reason, that attention. And it's really interesting when you start talking about, like, in this case, like Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth, and some of the storyline that happened that they're trying to say was real life, which even like some of the gimmick was trying to say, like, oh, I don't know if he was really angry or if it was the gimmick, that he was trying to do. And it's just like, it's not really fair because neither party, neither Macho Man nor Miss Elizabeth are alive to share their side. And it's almost like you're kind of sullying it, putting that way by saying, oh, I don't know, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, just putting that out there. And I just thought that's kind of unfair.
So you're talking about the him supposedly locking her in closets and that kind of thing,
So
right?
so like just putting it on a thing like as if he was abusive.
It's interesting. Excuse me. It's interesting because I should have hit the mute button there. I forgot we have a mute button now.
Oh, yeah.
Son of a gun. Anyhow, it's interesting that the first one we watched was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he had some spousal abuse charges brought against him in 2000, 2001, right around that time. And they actually talked about the time period. Remember in the documentary when he quit and he walked out?
Mm-hmm.
That's when all that stuff happened, but they didn't bring up those things with him.
And they might not have if there are any legal reasons why they couldn't.
Okay, fair enough. But I just thought it was interesting that it was not even broached. Nothing was even mentioned or talked about. That marriage, that obviously it's an ex-wife of his now, was never brought up. It was never mentioned once. So I thought that was interesting. And
it
then
could be because she's said, don't even mention me.
it could be, or it could be that he didn't want to take part in it if they were going to mention it. It
Yeah.
could very well be. But that, again, there's an example of the person is alive, so they can kind of have a little bit of say.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the Macho Man one, the stuff that they were talking about with Elizabeth and him. Now I've heard those stories myself as well.
Yeah, we've joked about it.
Yeah, but I was like just watching it and the people they had talking. I think this is why it bothered me because they had people like, I forget the guy's name, but he's like an actor, and he was talking about it. I'm
Dan
like,
Soder,
sure.
I think.
And he was talking about it, and he was
Mhm.
kind of he was making
He was
comments,
talking like
and I'm
he
just
knew these people.
right. And I'm like,
he
dude,
was there.
you've never met these people at all.
Yeah.
How are you like giving give and I think like the little thing, it said his name and underneath it said like actor super fan.
Yes.
Okay, so that gives you credibility in some way to talk about these people like you knew them or whatever. It was just weird. So I think
Yeah.
that kind of went up my ass a little bit. And it was just it bothered me because I'm like you said, these people are not here to defend themselves, and everything you're hearing is hearsay. Now, yes, you have Hulk Hogan saying it. You had like Jimmy Hart. You had people that were close to them saying it.
Yeah.
But then when his brother would talk, Lanny Poffo would talk. He didn't really mention. He just said he was protective of his wife. And I said to you, I think I hit pause. I was like, that's the thing. Like he's one of the boys, and the boys being the wrestlers, and he knows how the boys are, and especially back then, the boys are dicks. Like pretty much, if there's a woman in the dressing room, guess what? She's fair game. Doesn't matter if she's with this guy, that guy, if it's that guy's wife, that guy's girlfriend, they don't care. And so Randy Savage, knowing this, was probably like, you're not going to be around the boys. You're going to sit here. You're going to sit in this dressing room, and I'm going to keep you here unless I'm here with you.
And not just that, but I brought up a different perspective because
is that
for all we know,
right? Probably not.
But what if
But
she said, I'm not really comfortable around these
well,
guys or
that's
I don't like them? She could have
and
said,
that's the
and
thing
maybe like you
too.
said, he could be taking the heat, so she doesn't get heat from
Yeah,
anyone
yeah.
and saying, oh, I'll do
Yes.
this. Like
Well,
you don't know.
right. Well, yeah, you brought that up. Like maybe she said she wants to be away because she's not comfortable around all these guys, and he like they call it in wrestling taking the heat. Get everybody mad at you instead of her being mad at her and her getting a reputation. He's just like, just put it all on me. It's fine. And he made it look like he was locking her in. I don't know. It could be. I'm just saying. I'm not saying
but
that's
we
the
don't
case,
know. And
but
this
we
is the
don't
thing.
know.
People just snap to these
Right.
conclusions
People
and,
are quick
these
to pass
judgments.
judgment. Yeah.
And it's like you don't really know the story.
Exactly.
And I just think it's unfair when somebody can't defend themselves. I think it's somewhat weak to pass it like it's truth, even though you're trying to say, like, oh, well, we don't really know, but it's like you're putting it out there for the world. It's like, is that you're saying you love this guy? You guys were best friends. Is that really what you want to do? You want to put that out there about him?
That's that's the thing that was it was really kind of strange watching and it's just really interesting to watch because you had people that were close to him. There's friends and everything, and they're saying like you get it's just very weird. Seeing them. Okay, he was great. He was a great guy. He was intense. He was crazy, but they're saying crazy like in a good way. But the way he was with Elizabeth was all. So it's like, okay, wait. Well, it was just very
one
strange.
One of the things where like he told Miss Elizabeth, like, no, you stand over there.
Oh gosh.
And they were like trying to say like maybe he was just trying to keep her safe, but he could have just been really overprotective and he didn't want anyone near her. And I had mentioned like Alex would do that with me when I was his valet. I would come out to the ring and sometimes it's like we're not sure, where we're going to be in the ring and where he's going to be. And he would, kind of point me to like, I want you to be here because this is probably the best spot for you for what's going on. That's all. Unless there was like a specific thing we were doing and I needed to be in a certain spot, it was like, I'm going wherever. I want to be out of the way. Right. And so we don't know.
We don't have to get into inside baseball type stuff.
Okay. But what I'm saying is like to just put that.
There was a lot of mixing what was obvious storyline with real life. Yes. It was very obviously done. Well, okay, I say obvious to me because I kind of knew I knew a couple of the people involved. I've heard the stories and I could see that a lot of the stuff that was being presented was not what really happened. It was a lot of hearsay and there was a lot of sensationalism going on. Now, when it talked about his later girlfriend, the one where he was surveilling her house.
Yes, but I just want to see before we get to that, there was even a part after where Ricky the Steamboat Dragon was talking about the match.
Ricky the Steamboat Dragon? It's Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Sorry, I get things confused. I always get them swapped.
I'm going to call him Ricky the Steamboat Dragon from now on.
Yes.
Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, as you knock shit over, that's what you get. I can't. I love you. No, remember how he said he was like with the match, like step by step, step 1, step 2, step 34, up to like steps like 160 with their match that they had.
Yeah.
One of the things that they even showed was like him moving Miss Elizabeth. Like that was one of the steps. So it just showed right there. That was part of like the match. That's something that they had pre-planned. And that came after they were like other people were trying to say like he was being overbearing. So I just was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like you're saying he's being overbearing, but here they're like showing that it was part of the match when they did it.
There was a lot of weird.
Yeah. So I just was like, that's kind of
inconsistent kind of stuff. But yeah, when they were talking about
Gorgeous George.
Yes. How she found in his home monitors of her home. Like I guess he had paid people to put cameras up in her house and was surveilling her house. That was a little, yeah.
Yikes.
So yeah. Anyway.
Okay, that could be overbearing.
A little strange. If true, if that happened, if true, it's a little strange. But yeah, you did have a lot of people that said that he was very paranoid, and I'd heard that as well. I'd heard that from people that were close to him, and I do know that when he got out of wrestling, I can't remember when it was. It would have been, I think he came back for one show in like 2006 or 7. I'd have to look it up. But when he got out of wrestling, he was out. He was done. He wasn't one of those guys that just kept coming back and
Yeah.
hanging on and this. No, he was done. Like he let his hair grow gray, lost a bunch of weight, he looked like a totally different person. And actually, a funny story that I heard one time, Bret the Hitman Hart saw him at, do you remember Crush, the wrestler Crush, Brian Adams? No, he was a late 80s, early 90s. He was a WWF guy. Anyway, they were all good friends. Well, Crush passed away, and at Crush's funeral, Bret Hart saw Randy Savage, and they were talking, and Bret Hart didn't realize he was talking to Randy Savage because he looked so different. And Bret Hart, I think he said he was talking to him for a good 5-10 minutes before he realized who it was, and he had to ask him, Randy, and he said, "Yeah, what's up, man?" Because he didn't talk in the voice anymore. Like he completely became Randy Poffo instead of Randy Savage. Like he left the voice, all that. He left it all. Like when he removed himself from wrestling, he was done. Like that was it. So it's hard to say if maybe that overbearing persona kind of maybe like leaked into his real
Living the
life a little
gimmick.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible. Who
Yeah, who
knows?
knows? Yeah, it's
Who I
weird.
mean, who knows what was going on? But
Definitely interesting, an interesting thing to see and watch. But again, anything on TV,
it just made me think
it
about
is
when people
produced.
pass away and how some people tend to rewrite history with that relationship they had or with things that they
Oh
say
yeah,
happen when oh, it was just the two of us. So
yeah. I mean, for sure. I've had that happen firsthand with me when my best friend passed away. All these people coming out of the work. Oh yeah, he was a great guy, my best friend. Blah blah blah. I'm like, what? He hated your guts. What are you talking about? So yes, I've had that happen personally as well. And
actually, one thing
it's
that
too bad that people do that and feel the need to do that kind
yeah.
of stuff when
Well,
somebody's no longer here.
it
But
sucks for the people who care about them because I had a friend pass away and before he passed, like years before when we were hanging out, I remember like nobody, like he needed a ride. Nobody would give him a ride. Like another friend passed away and he was like, can somebody please, pick me up and, bring me to the funeral? And nobody, not one person. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Absolutely. But it was just like people would shit on him and, they weren't always there for him. And then, oh, he passes away and everyone's just like, oh, he was such a good friend. And it was just like, dude, you treated him like shit. And so like it sucks and it hurts when you witness that. And it was just like, kind of bringing back those memories of people do that. But it's, my part to not get hurt and upset by it, but just kind of say that's their own thing and it
yeah,
is what it
it's
is.
yeah, right,
Let
exactly.
them, deal with what they got to deal with.
Yeah, it's too bad that that kind of stuff happens, but it is what it is. What are you gonna do? It is too bad. That's I
Yeah.
mean I don't know how really to expand on that,
I
but
just put it's their journey.
yeah, but yeah.
They'll
Anyway,
get to where they need to be.
but yeah, check out the Macho Man
Yeah.
documentary. It, by all, I mean, I don't care about the personal stuff. The guy was a fantastic to watch.
Oh,
He was great to watch,
iconic.
and honestly, by all accounts, from everybody, a good guy. Like he did a lot of charity that was never really publicized too much. They didn't really make it public. He wasn't one of those that went out looking for the accolades, but I'd heard a lot of stories, just like different things that he did charity wise, and a lot of people that he helped out that was never really made public. So it's really too bad when you see like nobody's perfect, obviously, and some of us, yeah, we do things that,
We all do.
yeah, right, of course, but I can't say I've ever done anything to the extent that he was accused of. That's kind of it's a bit much if true, but it's too bad that that's the kind of stuff that they felt they had to put in this documentary.
Exactly. Yes.
Instead of just celebrating the guy who everybody.
I think it's because that's the story that people want to hear. They think that people want to hear. And so that's why they put it out
Yeah,
there because
yeah,
that's what gets downloads or that's,
yeah.
what
But so it gets people
gets,
talking and gets
yeah.
views. It's the
Mhm.
controversy. It's too bad that
Yeah.
you can't just have. I mean, because a lot of it was positive, and then that stuff would get tossed in. It's like, okay, but whatever.
I just thought it was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, for those kind of things, yeah, it was. But it is what it is.
Yeah. And speaking of wrestling,
So
we were talking about doing another bonus episode, doing a watch along.
yeah,
Yeah.
sometime soon we'll figure that one out.
Yes. So
Yeah, I don't know what, on what it would have to be. I couldn't do anything recent. I really couldn't. But yeah, maybe we'll do something.
yeah, and our friend Ketsuban from the Wrong Warp podcast, check him out. He's interested in doing it with us.
Oh,
So
that could be fun.
yes,
It could be
so we
fun.
can arrange something, maybe do one match for our show and one match for his show.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
So
Yeah, that could be fun.
if there's a certain
If
if there's a
anybody,
certain match, not an entire pay-per-view,
gosh,
you
yeah,
want
no, I
to
don't
you
do
want to
that
see
anymore.
done, let us know.
Yeah, sure. That'd be fun. I think, yeah, going back and looking at a lot of those things like from childhood, or even just teenage years, in your 20s, whatever. A lot of the stuff when wrestling was really really big. There's so many cool like history and backstory to a lot of the stuff that like to me that's the stuff that's fun like to talk about and reminisce about. The matches, yeah, great, they're fun, whatever, but I think like a lot of the backstory and stuff like leading into it is really
I think
cool.
sharing memories and yeah,
Yeah,
just like
yeah,
different stuff or things that you're noticing in the match that maybe nobody did.
yeah, I mean, sure, that's how I would watch it. I would. You guys have
I mean,
anybody listening that's
if you've
maybe
heard
has
our
heard
watch
before.
along, then you know how we roll.
Yeah, you know how
So
it's gonna be.
yeah.
So yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be cool. Sure,
Okay.
great. What what else? What anything else crazy that you've been dreaming about going back to dreams? I know we're kind of flip flopping going back and forth, but
Dreams. I've been
because you
having
you tell
like
me a lot of dreams, like you are good about telling me first thing in the morning if you've had
mhm.
some kind of interesting dream. Can you think of anything like you want to share right now?
No, not right now.
So I saw that there's, I guess, some research that's come out that's saying that, and I think it was on the Sam Tripoli podcast. He had a guest on. The name escapes me right now of his guest, but there was a lot of research that's come out that says that a lot of our dreams tend to be roughly like precognitive, and they're essentially we're able to dream and predict events that are going to happen around a year into the future.
I did see
Did you
somebody
see something
posted
about
that on
that?
Twitter. And
Okay.
what it made me think of is when I have dreams and then I have deja vu from them. And it's always it's a long time out. It's usually like at least a year or two or three out because a lot of times it's somewhere I don't recognize. Like, but once I'm there, I'm like, oh, because I wasn't at this job yet. So I'll be working at one place and let's say 2 years go by, but I don't like, I remember things. So I don't necessarily write down the dates of everything. So to say, like, oh, I had this deja vu and go back, which I probably should do, but I remember stuff. I just don't write down the
Hmm.
dates unless it's something really weird. Like if I have a dream about a friend, I'll write it down usually with the date if it really sticks out for some reason. But yeah, I was like, I wonder if it's like 1 year or 2 years or 3 years from that date of the dream. It's never anything cool, but
I yeah, I wonder about that. I wonder. I got to start writing my dreams down
yeah.
because that'd be pretty neat if you could.
The more you
If
do
that's
that, if you start like the moment you wake up, because it's really hard. If you wake up and you look at your phone or do anything, it can slip away. For me, if I feel like I'm losing like a dream, I go to the feeling and I just try to connect with the feeling I have from the dream. And then I get the feeling and like I keep my eyes closed and I focus on that feeling. And then usually what happens is I get like a bit. And from that bit, I rewind back based off the feeling. And okay, this part, I had this feeling. And like, then what? Okay. And then how did I get here? And then I start remembering because I'm rewinding back.
hmm,
It works for
interesting.
me.
Interesting.
Yeah. But it's interesting when I think about it because usually when I dream, the feeling is usually in my solar plexus or my heart chakra.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, for me, anytime I tell you a dream that I remember, it's because I am like just waking up and
Mhm.
I'm like forcing myself. I gotta remember this. I gotta
Yeah.
talk about it. I gotta tell her about it.
And I told you, like, your phone has like the voice recorder. Turn it on and just record, talk about it, because it is kind of a pain in the ass writing it all out or typing it all out. But if you just, like, put the date and then say, I had a dream about this, like, you can even put it to like translate so it can write it up for you.
Maybe I'll try that. Of
Yeah.
course, I'm not. I'm probably not going to, but
Yeah, it is what it is.
I'll try. I can say I'll try. I'll try to remember. When I wake, me. When I wake up, I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm a heavy sleeper, so when I'm actually asleep, I sleep. But when I wake up, I'm just like, if I come, it depends. Like if I wake up out of a dream, like a good dream, I can't remember any nightmare I've had recently. But if I wake up, most of the time, if it's something that was unresolved or I want to see where it's going, I can just close my eyes and fall back asleep. So I go back into the dream, and I can do it, and I go back to where I left off, which is whatever you call. I don't know what you call that. But then if I wake up and like I'm up for the day, if I don't talk about it right away,
Yeah.
it's gone
And
quick.
that's usually what happens with a lot of people.
And if you wake me up, forget it. Like I'm foggy. It takes me like 45 minutes to wake up if I get shaken out of sleep.
I'm a light sleeper. So I wake up and I'm like, oh, okay. Do my little gratitude. And I'm like, I'm so thankful I woke up and I'm thankful for this day. And I'm up. I'm not, yeah.
Yeah, I just not me.
I'm an early riser, like
If
5,
I wake up on
5:30,
my
and I'm
own,
like,
I'm fine.
woo.
But if you shake me out of sleep, forget it. I'm groggy. I need a lot of time to wake up.
Everyone's different. Before we wrap up, I just
Yeah.
wanted to mention, shout out to our friend Human Vibration. She was on the My Maria 777, her podcast. Human Vibration was on a guest. As we're listing, it's this week, but by the time the show will air, it'll be last week. But check it out. I listened to it today, and oh my gosh, like, that was such a fun episode to listen to, like hearing the girls talk and sharing their stories. It's like somebody said it was like living vicariously through them. And it really was. It was really fun. And like one of the things that they talked about,
Spoilers if you haven't heard it
not
yet.
really. It's just I
Just
related
kidding.
to
I'm
it
kidding.
so much because, and I wanted to share the story because I was telling you about
Yeah.
it and I was laughing so hard I couldn't talk. But just talking about like when you try to be sexy, when you try to be cool, and it's like the universe humbles you. It's like, oh, no, no, I'm going to knock you down a peg or two. And I was like, oh my gosh, that happens to me all the time. I relate to it so much because anytime I've tried to be like really cool or sexy, it always backfires and I make a complete ass of myself. And one example I was sharing with Alex today was when I was younger, there was a club in Portsmouth called the Elvis Room, and I used to frequent it quite a lot.
Portsmouth Road, where? New Hampshire?
New Hampshire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so my friend at the time, his band was playing this band, the Ducky Boys. And I used to love that band. And so they were playing and they were playing with some other bands. And so the way it's set up is you walk in through the main door and straight ahead, it was like two rectangles side by side. One was like a bar area with tables. And then as the bar, it's kind of like an L shape. There's like a kind of, when you walk in through the front door to the right, there's a doorway going into the other section that has a stage. And that's where the bands would play and everyone would go in to listen to the bands. So where the doorway is, bands would set up their merch table on one side by like the window, and then on the other side is the bar. So I was going to walk into the club part of it with the stage, and I saw the singer, my friend Mark. And so I'm like, I'm going to be cool. And so
I'm going to be cool.
in my mind,
Right.
so I tapped him on the shoulder. And like for our watchers, I like walk by and I try to do like this really cool, sexy looking, like, how you doing? And the merch table, the guys there had a box of merch under the table, but it was pushed out and I tripped over it. Like right as he turned to look at me, he sees me go flying, like flying forward.
Cool.
This is what happens when I try to be cool and sexy, like on purpose. The universe is like, no. But yeah, so like some of the stuff they were sharing, I was like, I relate to that so hard.
I don't know if I have any stories that I can share like that.
No universe humbling you stories.
Oh, geez, I've been humbled, of course. I don't, not by trying to look cool though.
Oh.
I look at all mine as like anytime I thought, like anytime if I always try to keep my ego and myself in check. Always did, and no, and I defy anybody out there to find somebody that can say I was ever had an ego or was ever like conceited or stuck up or anything like that. Didn't happen. I always kept myself in check. But for me, I feel like anytime I had like a major injury in wrestling, if I was getting out of being myself and allowing the wrestling gimmick or whatever to take over, that's when I'd get hurt. That's always when I would get hurt.
For me,
so I feel like maybe that was the universe's way of being like, hey, dude.
I don't know. Like for me, if it was an ego thing, because it's not like I was like, oh, I am so cool and sexy. It was, I'm going to try to be cool. And the universe is like, no, honey, you're not. You should know better than to try.
Yeah. I don't know.
But it was a funny story, and I just thought I'd share it. So, for anyone out there who's clumsy and tries to be cool and just ends up making an ass of yourself, you're not the only one. It happens to me constantly. If I say, like, I'm going to get all dressed up and look pretty, something will happen where, like, I'll like spill food or coffee or something on my clothes, or I'll, something will happen.
Yeah, well, look at it like this. If something like that happens, it's because the universe is telling you don't need any of that shit. I tell you all the time, why do you even bother wearing makeup? You're beautiful. You don't need it. I tell you all the time.
And I tweeted about this. So the other day, I went to work and I'm like almost done my day. And I just kind of like rub my hands on my eyes and I'm like, I don't have mascara on. I forgot to put makeup on today. I totally forgot.
And what did I tell you that morning when you left for work? I stopped you and I said, you look really beautiful this morning.
Thank you.
I didn't realize it's because you weren't wearing makeup. I didn't realize that was why.
Well, last week's episode, I barely had any makeup on.
Whatever.
I'm working to it. I do it because I think I look beautiful. Like I told you, when I get like all sexy, like years ago, I was in like plaid skirts and fishnets. But that was to me, that's how I felt good. That's how I felt I looked good. I'm not doing the conventional sexy. It was what feels good to me, what makes me feel like. I mean, I used to do like crazy punk rock makeup, like turquoise eyeshadow and like winged eyeliner and awesome artistic, cool makeup. And I thought I looked fantastic. Other people probably looked at me and thought I was a freak show, but I didn't care. I thought I looked really good. And that's what I'm saying. So when I say like, oh, I'm looking sexy or whatever, beautiful, it's not about what most people define as sexy or beautiful. It's like my own definition, which can change to however I want it to be.
Cool.
Yeah. But I just wanted to share my universe story.
Sweet.
With me tripping and falling because it's funny.
It is funny.
And don't we just have to laugh at ourselves when stuff like that happens?
My gosh, we have to. That's what I mean. You have to laugh because otherwise you'd be a miserable person. I mean, look at the world. You gotta laugh.
You gotta have a sense of humor.
Especially yeah, you gotta laugh.
Yeah.
You have to.
We have to be able to make fun of ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Can't take yourself too seriously.
No, I mean, I mentioned it before. The guy who said like they thought NASA was the world's largest user of helium until they found out it was me. Referring to my voice. I thought that was funny. Yeah, they're teasing me or making fun of me, but I don't care. It was funny. Yeah. And we have to be able to laugh at ourselves.
You have to. Why not? Of course.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. 100%.
And laughter is the best medicine.
The best medicine.
Yeah.
All right.
That and plants.
Okay. Sure. And fasting. Fasting is a good medicine as well.
Yes. And sunlight
Sunlight.
and positive energy.
Yes.
Yeah. We are not doctors. Please don't take anything we've said as medical advice.
Or take it as medical advice and actually maybe get healthy.
Or don't sue us if it doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
all. That's all.
But we're not doctors.
We are not doctors.
No. I don't think I'd want to be either. I'm good.
Yeah, you are.
Hey, thanks. So anyhow, where can people find you on? So unless there was anything else you wanted to talk about, I mean, we can keep going.
We can go all night if we want to.
Hey, now, do we have to go all night on a podcast though?
No.
Can we go all night doing something else? Hey, oh, what?
Oh, naughty.
All right. Anyhow,
All kinds of freaking naughty.
yeah.
Anywho, so how can people find you, Alex?
Me. I don't know.
I'm turning the tables here.
We didn't talk about our podcast though. Where can people
We can do it after.
Whatever.
How can people find you? We'll shake it up.
You could find me on Twitter. That's it. The Alex Arion and alexarionfitness.com. How about yourself?
Find me on Twitter at _Monique Giselle _ Had to do the underscores because somebody already had Monique Giselle with one L. Whatever. It's okay. We know how to use the underscore button. And I have a website, tarotbymonique.com. And I have an Etsy shop, Wonders by Monique. You can find me there.
What about the podcast? Where can people find that?
On Twitter at Homewrecker Pod. And our website?
And our website. That's it, right? Because there's no other. Yeah,
that's it.
Just
Homewreckerpodcast.com.
Until we get kicked off Twitter for something.
And YouTube, Brighteon, and Odyssey.
That's it.
So follow, subscribe, whatever it is, like. And if you'd be so inclined, please give us 5 stars.
Yeah, we appreciate those. Those are fun. We should actually look at those. Maybe like if we get a review, like some days time to write a review, we can read them on the show or something.
I've read them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll do that in the future episode.
Maybe, but give us reviews. Good ones, please. Send us that positive energy.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
5
But
stars.
whatever. It's whatever you feel like doing. We hope that we earn the 5-star.
Yes.
But yeah. All right.
Yeah. And yeah, YouTube, Brighteon, Odyssey. You can watch us.
Yes. This is the part where everybody shuts off the show.
Pretty much.
Usually because like, oh yeah.
We should keep going for like 20 more minutes.
They're gonna talk about this and they're gonna blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, okay. You want to keep talking?
You know what we should do next time is do this shit in the middle of the show.
In the middle of the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll do it in the middle of the show.
Change it up.
Yeah.
Switch things
Chaos.
up. Shake it up. Shake
Yeah.
it up. Shake it up.
Mm-hmm. I just got the car. Shake it
Shake
up.
it up.
Do, do.
The cars were awesome.
Yeah, they were.
I liked the cars.
I did too. One of the bands I was in, because I was in like a ton of bands, we did trying to think.
Shake it up.
No.
What I like about you. Wait, that wasn't the Cars.
I was gonna say Just What I Needed.
Just What I Needed.
Yeah, that was the Cars.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm like, and I was like, oh, Just What I Needed by the Cars, and I'm like, wait, no, was that the Cars?
It was.
I'm like totally like mind blanking, and I should know this, but yeah.
Remember the song You Might Think?
Yes.
Remember that music video?
Great
That was
song.
awesome.
Yes.
It was like the MTV, like the height of MTV.
I think one of the funnest things was being in a cover band with my brother. We did like all kinds of songs. We did like Patsy Cline. We did Outcast, Hey Ya. We did that song. We did Misfits. We did like a whole bunch of stuff. It was just really fun.
Covers.
Yeah, covers are fun.
When I was in a
making
band,
them like really fast and loud.
Yeah, we would always cover just like heavy stuff. Pantera, Megadeth, Metallica.
We did Typo Negative, Black #1. And
Okay.
so I like actually like sing it. So
Doesn't he have like the like kind of voice? Is that...
He had like Peter Steele has a very like his voice was very deep, but I did it, and I hate to say it this way because I don't like Tori Amos, but like singing. So like I'd sing it, but then I'd like go into like I feel awkward like doing it, but where he's like, was like loving the dead. Like I'd like get really like try to get my voice deep and like then like do that. But it was really cool. And I get like wicked soprano like singing. Where he's like loving you was like loving the dead, where he's actually singing it. And I get like super soprano. It was really cool. And I wish I had audio. We had a MySpace and I forgot.
Is that still around?
Yes,
MySpace?
and we're still
Really?
on there. My band, Too Drunk to Dance, still on there, but I don't know the password, and I don't even remember the email address that I used to get it. So we had like videos up, we had audio up. If you have a MySpace account and you find it and you can hear it and see it, let me know.
See, I never had a MySpace and never I don't know if I ever even went on MySpace. I may have like seen other people going on it and looked over their shoulders as they're showing me stuff, but I never myself typed in the words MySpace dot was
I
it
didn't.
com net
Yeah,
whatever it was.
.com. Yeah.
I never had a
And
MySpace.
there was
So
Tom.
who was that?
Yeah, Tom
Who's
from
Tom?
MySpace. It was like this dude who was just like in his profile picture. He was like everybody's friends. When he like created or something, I don't know. But when you started a MySpace account, you'd have one friend, and that was Tom until you added
Who
more
was that?
people.
The creator of
I guess
MySpace?
so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like, and there was Tom. I'm like, who the hell is Tom?
We don't fucking know, but he was our friend.
All right.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But no,
Relax,
yeah,
slow.
it was
Hold it down.
cool.
Hold it down. Easy.
So
Easy.
I'm all like hyped up. Like I want to sing
Wow.
some Black Number One now.
What was
I,
what was the most memorable show your band ever played?
I don't know. Because we had a lot of fun shows. One of the funnest was my friend Alicia. We did a Halloween show in her basement, and I wore like a sexy Alice in Wonderland costume. And it was cool. Like I was like climbing the speakers and like jumping off and like singing and like dancing in the pit while I was singing.
A pit
Yeah.
in her basement? How big was her house?
I don't know.
So it was like a house party.
Yeah. But like we were playing in the basement. It was awesome. It was so cool. We did like one show and like it had a really big draw. That was fun. I think every show was fun because I was just, I don't give a shit. I'm there to have fun. I wanted to sing and have fun.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Having fun.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Cool. I think one of the we played a lot of bars, and I was 16 and getting into all these like 21 and over clubs and playing drums. It was weird. I didn't drink or anything. I was never a drinker in high school or anything like that. But that was really weird playing to a bunch of drunk people as a kid. Yeah, but we did that a lot in my band.
That's awesome.
In one of my bands, I should say.
Do you remember? Trying to think. Cafe Savoy. It was in Manchester.
Never went there. No.
I used to go to Cafe
I've heard of
Savoy
it,
in
but I never went
Manchester
there.
like all the time to go watch bands play.
Cool.
Yeah.
No.
And it's just so funny. I'd be in Manchester all the time. Just saying.
No, never went to that place ever.
That's okay.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting.
Could have connected back then and we wouldn't even know it, but you didn't go.
Oh, sorry. I probably would have thought you were a freak.
You probably would have. Who's this
and-
freaking chick with like leopard print tank
skirts
top and
whatever else you
yeah,
wear?
yeah, crazy makeup.
Yeah, probably wouldn't have. I don't know.
I remember
knows?
my friend Stan. Oh my fucking god! Like one time at talking of reminiscing at Cafe Savoy, breaking beer bottles over his head in the parking lot.
All right.
It was entertaining. I'm
Cool.
just like, what are you doing? He's like, no, it's okay. Because the trick is you tap it on the ground, not hard enough to break it, but it like gets it ready and then you smash it.
Yeah, it gimmicks it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to do that with like steel chairs in wrestling. You'd, like stomp out the seat of it because it would make it would pop. If it depended on the type of chair, I got pretty good at it after a while. You hit right on the right spot, it makes a nice loud pop. If you call it gimmicking the chair.
Yeah.
Right?
So we kind of gimmicked the bottle, I guess. I didn't know if that really worked or not, but it's like he warmed it up to smash it over his head. Yeah.
Sure. I've never smashed a bottle over anyone's head or had it smashed over mine, so I couldn't tell you, but okay, sure. I heard that the trick to that is you just gotta you just got to break it. Like you just got to do it hard, because if you don't do it hard enough and the bottle doesn't break,
It hurts.
that will hurt like a son of a bitch. I mean, I'm sure it's going to hurt anyway, but it will hurt really bad. And
have you ever had somebody like throw a bottle and it hits you in the head?
that has happened to me,
Yeah,
actually.
it,
Yes.
it doesn't feel
It
pleasant.
freaking hurts. Yeah. So yeah, if you're trying to, oh gosh, yeah, no. It's funny, actually. Roddy Piper, one of his famous promos, he did that. He smashed a bottle over his head and just started bleeding everywhere, and he was like sweating and everything. And so it was just a mess. It was awesome. It was one of his famous promos.
And they reconnected, reminiscing with
There you
wrestling.
go. Full circle. Went
Full
all the
circle,
way
not
back
even
around.
intentional, just happened.
Bam. Just
Love
like that.
it. Yes.
Good
Love
stuff. Good stuff. So
it.
anyhow, on that note, until next time.
Want to give love to all our hearers and watchers and all
Yeah.
our Twitter friends. We love you.
Yes, absolutely. And we appreciate everybody spending their time, their most valuable currency,
Yes.
listening to us,
Yeah.
just BSing and having a grand old time. We
You
really
guys rock.
appreciate it for
Thank
for
you.
real. So thank you so much. And until next time, everybody, I am the double G, the double A, the Golden Greek, Alex Arion, joined as always by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, amazing trophy wife, the lovely Monique.
Oh, my turn.
And you've been listening to the Homewrecker podcast.
I'm just shaking it up. We're having fun here. That's all. Just throwing in a little chaos.
Nothing wrong with
Why
that.
not, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And you've been listening to the Homewrecker podcast.
Shaking it up a bit.
Yeah. Shake it up like the cars. Car style, baby. Shake it up.
Chaos. Causing all kinds of chaos over here.
It's all good, baby.
Throwing me off my game like I have any game.
I was going to say, you got game.
I got you. Ha, ha,
No,
ha,
that's right.
ha.